Hello, dear World of Warcraft friends. We're entering the final stretch. Only about, yes, 2.5, 3 weeks left until BlizzCon. And many people are waiting for the announcement of World of Warcraft Classic Plus or Project Camelot or whatever else it's called. Now there are really even more hints indicating that Classic Plus is coming. And it probably won't take much longer because the latest version of it has now been discovered on Blizzard's servers, which has been promoted. We take a look at what that's all about in this video. If you want, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, that would make me really happy. And one more thing beforehand. Under one of my recent Classic Plus videos, I asked if you would like to see more content about that as well. And a lot of people wrote that they would like that. I know my community is more into retail, probably because I mostly play retail myself. But I read your feedback. And what I can say is, I probably won't become a Classic player now, not even with Classic Plus. But depending on how it turns out, I would find it very interesting. And I definitely want to keep making videos about it, not to the extent that we do with retail, but I think we can expand on it a bit more. So yeah, a lot of people have asked for it, and we'll see if we can find a good way to continue covering it in our reporting. If you have any suggestions or if there's something you especially want, feel free to write it in the comments and then we'll see what happens. Yeah, all in all, that's what it's about. The data miners have been busy again, and now it's about Chinese servers. About a year ago, NetEase, which is basically Blizzard's partner in China, announced that China and Western servers, meaning EU and USA, whatever, everyone will experience all classic content and even a possible Classic Plus at the same time. And this is where the aforementioned new build comes into play. We can see it here. There's a new build that was deployed on CN, the Chinese servers, with patch 1.60 or 1.60, something like that. New build and so on. And what we know has already been announced by other data miners as well. These 1.60 builds have to do with a new version of Classic. We've already seen data mines of deluxe editions of Camelot, which is probably what Classic Plus will be called, and there are even more hints about it, so it's safe to assume that this patch is now also on Chinese servers. Where it has to, can, or should start. And now you can assume that this build has arrived in China, so they can work on localization and so on and so forth there. Best regards to Dry, who just wrote to me. Things have to be changed for the Chinese servers. For example, we know that with undead characters, bones, and so on can't be shown the same way as they are here. They already have these assets in China. But of course, when a build comes from Blizzard, it's not primarily made for China. But it also includes things that might not be wanted or tolerated there. So you can assume that this is a version that's being rolled out over there now. It's being localized and worked on. And yeah, let's see. I find it very difficult to say because there was also a question here about how long localization takes for such a game. I don't think they have to do all of that already or still have to take care of it. Depending on whether Blizzard reuses crests from regular Classic, you can then reuse assets. So what I'm trying to say is you can't completely localize a video game in just 2 days. But if they say now, I don't know, they're bringing back the zones, Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms. They're bringing back a lot of quests from there and adding new zones with new quests. Then you already have the old zones, the old races, and so on and so forth. They're already there. You can just take that from regular Classic. Then it would only be about localizing the new content. And that just depends on how much there is, how long that will take. That's why there was speculation on one hand that BlizzCon would happen, and right after that, the whole thing would start. Classic Plus. However, I don't believe that, especially not if they would only now really start localizing it, if it's supposed to have a simultaneous launch. You won't be able to do that in 3 weeks, I can't imagine that. But what would be quite possible is that the beta could start after BlizzCon. But it's not that bad if not everything is localized yet. And then they said that maybe we'll get the Classic Plus version at the end of the year. So I would probably consider that more realistic. Anyway, I think it's pretty clear by now that a Classic Plus is coming. We saw that here as well. That was from the Warcraft Direct, where Holly talked about it. Let's take another look.
China. Why? Not only are our audiences between modern and classic unique, but so are our WoW players in China. We made those realms for them based on how they play. And that's not all we're working on. I can say with confidence that all classic players across the globe have a lot to look forward to. I'm really excited to announce Holly Berg. I guess we'll save that for later.
Yes, and there she says she has something to announce that all classic players around the world would be excited about. And she's allowed to announce it, and then someone shouts in the background, Holly! Shut your mouth, boy. And then she was quiet. So what else could it be? I mean, I don't know, Warlords of Draenor Classic, they wouldn't make such a big fuss about that. It has to be something significant, and I can't imagine it's anything other than Classic Plus. So let's just wait and see. That's yet another sign which very, very clearly points in that direction. Something's going on, something's being worked on, and it's all starting to take shape. I'm very, very curious. Like I said, I'll definitely take a look. I know I'm not the audience for Classic Plus, but I would definitely check it out if it really, I mean, if it was just a classic with, I don't know, 20 new quests, that wouldn't really interest me. If it's a classic with a new area, maybe a new class, new story, a different story, I'd be into that. Like, how could the whole thing have developed? You know what I mean? But I think it doesn't matter who you ask, out of 100 classic players, probably 99 want something different from Classic Plus. You won't be able to please everyone. Let's wait and see what's coming our way. And with that, thanks for watching. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm glad to be able to go through all of this with you. And I'm also really looking forward to BlizzCon and what awaits us there. So leave a like and subscribe if you don't want to miss anything. Sending love, much love, bye.